It was supposed to be another polished television appearance, calm on the surface and predictable beneath the lights. But that illusion shattered the moment everything went off script. What happens when one of Hollywood's most respected actresses walks into an interview believing it will be friendly, only to realize she's being set up from the first smile? What you're about to hear isn't just uncomfortable television. It's a slow burn ambush that exploded live on air and left everyone frozen in shock. Before we dive into the video, please like, subscribe, and comment. Now let's get back to the video. The studio lights blazed as Nicole Kidman settled into her chair on the View set. Calm and composed, her trademark grace visible even in the casual pre-show chatter. She arrived, ready to promote her latest film, expecting thoughtful questions, professional discussion, and the light banter that had followed her through decades of interviews. What Nicole didn't know, what no one told her, was that Joy Behar had spent the entire morning digging through old interviews, searching for leverage, collecting fragments, and preparing ammunition. Welcome back to The View. I'm Joy Behar, and we're here with the incredibly talented Nicole Kidman, Joy said, her smile polished but hollow, never quite reaching her eyes. Nicole, it's so wonderful to have you here today. Thank you for having me, Joy. It's always a pleasure to be on the show, Nicole replied warmly, unaware that the tone in the room was already shifting beneath her feet. At first, everything followed the expected rhythm. They talked about the film, the emotional preparation behind the role, the experience of working with the director, and the story's deeper themes. But viewers watching closely could sense something changing. Joy's posture stiffened, her gaze sharpened, and her questions began cutting just a little deeper with each exchange. You know, Nicole, I was reading some of your old interviews, Joy said, leaning forward with unmistakable intent. You've been quite vocal about your political views over the years, haven't you? Nicole paused, her smile tightening just slightly as she sensed the shift. I think it's important for people to stay engaged with the world around them, she said carefully. But today, I'm really here to talk about the film. Oh, but surely you can't just turn your opinions on and off when it's convenient, Joy pressed. Her voice edged with something sharper now, causing the studio audience to shift uncomfortably. I've made it clear that my focus today is the movie, Nicole replied, still composed, still professional, but clearly unsettled by the direction this was heading. Joy laughed, but it wasn't warm. It was precise and calculating. The audience can decide what they're interested in, can't they? I'm just curious why you speak so boldly about issues, then retreat when someone wants to discuss them properly. The other hosts exchanged quick glances, recognizing that Joy had gone off script. Whoopi tried to intervene gently, saying, "Maybe we should talk about the amazing cast you worked with." But Joy cut her off immediately. No, this matters," she snapped. "Nicole, you made comments years ago criticizing the entertainment industry for staying silent on serious issues. Do you still stand by that? Or was that just another case of Hollywood virtue signaling?" Nicole's jaw tightened, the first visible crack in her calm exterior. "I've always tried to speak honestly about issues I care about," she said. "I don't believe that deserves this framing." "Oh, come on," Joy shot back, her voice rising. "You criticize the industry when it's fashionable, but when things get complicated, you stay quiet while collecting paychecks." The studio fell completely silent, except for the low hum of cameras rolling. Nicole took a measured breath, fighting to maintain control. "Joy, I think you're misunderstanding my position. I've consistently supported causes I believe in, both publicly and privately." "Consistently?" Joy repeated, dripping with sarcasm. "Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you pick and choose when to have a conscience based on what benefits your career." That was the moment something shifted in Nicole's eyes. "I'm not going to sit here while my integrity is questioned based on twisted interpretations of old interviews," she said firmly. "Twisted interpretations?" Joy leaned back with a satisfied smirk. I'm pointing out inconsistencies, Nicole. Isn't that what journalism does? Journalism, Nicole replied, disbelief creeping into her voice. Is that what you call this ambush? I came here in good faith to discuss my work, not to be attacked over vague insinuations. Ambush? Joy scoffed. If tough questions feel like controversy, maybe those principles aren't as solid as you claim. The tension thickened, almost suffocating, as camera operators hesitated, unsure whether to cut away from what was clearly spiraling out of control. Nicole's hands were clenched tightly in her lap now. You know what, Joy? I've done interviews for over 30 years. I know the difference between tough questions and personal attacks. This isn't journalism, it's a hit job. A hit job? Joy's eyes lit up. That's quite an accusation. Maybe you just don't like being held accountable for your own words. Accountable for what? Nicole snapped, her patience finally cracking. For caring about issues? For refusing to play the role you expected? The studio audience sat frozen, aware they were witnessing something unprecedented unfold live. Joy leaned in aggressively, emboldened by Nicole's frustration. So now I'm the villain for asking you to explain your contradictions? That's rich, Nicole, really rich. What contradictions? Nicole demanded sharply. You keep making accusations without specifics. If you have something to say, then say it clearly. Joy's smile turned venomous. Fine, let's talk specifics. Fine, let's talk specifics, Joy said, her voice suddenly sharp and deliberate, like she'd been waiting for this moment all along. 3 years ago, you gave an interview where you criticized actors who stay silent on important issues, Joy continued. You said, that silence in the face of injustice makes you complicit. But when that scandal broke involving your production company's investors, where was your voice then? The studio audibly gasped as Nicole's face paled, though her posture remained steady. That situation was completely different, and you know it, she replied firmly. Legal proceedings were involved, and speaking publicly could have compromised. Ongoing investigations. Oh, how convenient, Joy sneered. Legal proceedings, the perfect excuse for selective activism. She leaned forward, eyes locked on Nicole. Tell me, how do you sleep at night, knowing you profited from those investments, while lecturing everyone else about moral responsibility? The other hosts looked horrified, exchanging panicked glances. Sunny attempted to step in. Perhaps we could talk about Nicole's philanthropic work. No, Sunny, Joy snapped, waving her off dismissively. I think our audience deserves answers, don't they, Nicole? Nicole's composure was visibly hanging by a thread now. What you're doing right now is exactly what's wrong with media today, she said carefully. You strip away context, twist timelines, and reduce complex situations into cheap accusations. It's dishonest. Dishonest? Joy shot back, her voice climbing higher. I'm not the one who built a career playing the virtuous leading lady while making deals that contradict everything I claim to stand for. At least be honest about what this is, Nicole replied, her voice cooling into something dangerous. You invited me here under false pretenses. You planned this attack in advance, and now you're pretending it's journalism. That's cowardly. The word landed like a slap. Cowardly, Joy exploded, her face flushing red. I've been asking hard questions longer than you've been playing dress up for the camera, sweetheart. Don't you dare talk down to me. Nicole didn't back down. I've spent my entire career fighting to be taken seriously, she snapped, and I'm not going to let you tear that down with tabloid-style tactics. Joy stood abruptly, pointing a finger across the table. Tabloid tactics? I'm exposing hypocrisy. Hollywood elites think they can lecture everyone else about morality while living by completely different rules. Nicole remained seated, but her voice cut through the studio with surgical precision. You're not exposing anything. You're bullying someone because you know this platform protects you from consequences. Oh, please, Joy laughed harshly. You're worth hundreds of millions. You have publicists, lawyers, teams protecting you, and you want to play the victim. Money doesn't protect you from character assassination, Nicole replied coldly. And that's exactly what you're doing. Joy's mask slipped completely, revealing something darker underneath. It's accountability, Nicole, something you clearly aren't used to. Accountability? Nicole repeated incredulously. You haven't asked a single legitimate question. You've implied wrongdoing without evidence and twisted my words to fit a narrative you decided on before I ever walked out here. The studio audience sat motionless, visibly uncomfortable as the confrontation escalated. Joy leaned back, still aggressive. Maybe that discomfort should tell you something. Maybe being held to your own standards isn't as easy as you thought. My standards? Nicole asked quietly, her tone suddenly razor-sharp. When was the last time you admitted you were wrong, Joy? When was the last time you apologized for misrepresenting someone? Joy's eyes narrowed. Don't turn this around on me. I'm not turning anything around, Nicole continued. I'm pointing out the hypocrisy. You judge everyone else from that chair, but you never apply that scrutiny to yourself. Joy snapped back instantly. I'm not the one with inconsistencies. I didn't build a career on being America's sweetheart while making deals with questionable people. Questionable people? Nicole raised her voice. Are you really going to throw vague accusations around without naming anything specific? That's gossip, Joy, not journalism. The other hosts looked helpless, silently pleading with producers off camera to intervene. What this show represents is truth, Joy declared loudly. Something you seem to struggle with. Then ask real questions, Nicole shot back, because all you've done is make accusations disguised as curiosity. Nicole stood up, her chair scraping loudly against the floor. You haven't asked me one real question this entire time, and if you can't see the difference, then maybe you shouldn't be sitting in that chair. Joy leapt to her feet, furious. Don't you dare tell me how to do my job. I was hosting shows before you were even a household name. I don't need career lectures from someone who thinks being pretty qualifies them to have opinions, Joy added venomously. The insult detonated across the studio. Nicole's eyes burned with fury. Being pretty? Is that really what you think I've built my career on? She demanded. I've produced films. I've fought for women's rights on screen and off. I've used my platform responsibly. If you reduce that to appearance, then you've exposed how shallow this attack really is. Shallow! Joy screamed. You married a country music star for publicity and called it love. The studio gasped again, louder this time. Nicole froze completely, her voice dropping to ice. Now you're attacking my marriage, my family. That is completely out of bounds, and you know it. I'm pointing out a pattern, Joy insisted, pushing forward recklessly. Everything in your life is curated for maximum benefit. My children? Nicole whispered, her voice deadly calm. Did you just question my relationship with my children? The other hosts frantically gestured for Joy to stop, but she barreled forward anyway. For someone who claims to value privacy, you certainly know how to use your personal life when it suits you, Joy continued. That was the breaking point. Nicole stepped forward, every ounce of restraint gone. You want honesty, Joy? You're a bitter, washed-up talk show host, lashing out because you can't stand someone else's success. Jealous? Joy laughed wildly. Of your fake image, your manufactured life? Then why are you so obsessed with tearing it down? Nicole shot back. If you're not jealous, what drives this level of cruelty? Joy's mask collapsed entirely. Because people like you make me sick. You walk around pretending you're better than everyone else when you're just as fake as the rest of Hollywood. The studio was dead silent, cameras capturing every second of the meltdown. At least you finally admitted it, Nicole said quietly. This wasn't journalism, this was personal. Whoopi tried desperately to intervene. Ladies, maybe we should take a break. No, Nicole said firmly. I'm done. I'm done, Nicole said, her voice steady but final, cutting straight through the chaos that had consumed the studio. Joy scoffed loudly. panic flashing behind her eyes as control slipped away. "Running away again, Nicole? That's very typical. When things get uncomfortable, you disappear." Nicole turned back slowly, locking eyes with Joy for one final moment. "I'm not running away from anything," she said coldly. "I'm walking away from a toxic situation created by someone who has completely abandoned professional standards." The audience at home could feel the shift. The power dynamic had flipped. "You can spin this however you want," Nicole continued, "but everyone watching just saw exactly what happened. I came here to talk about my work. You came here to settle a personal grudge." Joy's voice cracked, desperation bleeding through her anger. "Personal grudge? You think this is personal? This is about truth." "No," Nicole replied sharply. "This is about ego. You didn't ask questions, you made accusations. You didn't seek clarity. You chased humiliation." Joy stood frozen, her earlier confidence completely gone. Nicole reached up and removed her microphone with deliberate calm, each movement sending a clear message that this was over. A stunned production assistant hesitated before taking it from her shaking hand. "This is exactly what I'm talking about," Joy blurted out, scrambling to regain control. "When confronted with accountability, you walk away." Nicole stopped at the edge of the stage and turned back slowly, her voice slicing through the room like glass. "Accountability requires facts, Joy. What you offered was speculation, insults, and personal attacks, especially against my family. That tells the audience everything they need to know." The studio was completely silent now. No applause, no murmurs, just the low, mechanical hum of cameras still rolling. "You crossed a line today," Nicole added, her tone calm but devastating. "Not just with me, but with anyone who still believes this show stands for honest conversation." Joy's face flushed, her voice rising again. "Oh, spare me the lecture. You think you're above criticism because you smile well and cry on cue." Nicole didn't raise her voice this time. That made it worse. "I think criticism should be rooted in truth, not bitterness. And I think you lost sight of that a long time ago." The other hosts sat frozen, some staring at the table, others refusing to look at Joy at all. Nicole took one last step forward. "You wanted a moment today, Joy. Congratulations, you got one, but it wasn't the moment you planned." She turned and walked off the set, heels echoing loudly as the studio doors closed behind her. For a full 10 seconds, no one spoke. Joy stood alone at the table, red-faced, visibly shaken, her notes scattered and useless. The camera lingered longer than expected, catching something raw and unfiltered, Joy's composure, cracking as she realized she had miscalculated badly. Whoopi finally broke the silence with a strained attempt to move forward, but the damage was already done. Viewers at home weren't debating Nicole's answers anymore. They were questioning Joy's motives. Clips of the confrontation exploded across social media within minutes, slowed down, replayed, dissected frame by frame. Some called it brave, others called it unhinged. But almost everyone agreed on one thing: this wasn't journalism, it was personal. Former colleagues quietly distanced themselves. Media insiders whispered that producers were furious. And critics pointed out the moment Joy stopped asking questions and started swinging. Nicole, meanwhile, said nothing publicly, no follow-up interviews, no statements, no damage control. That silence spoke louder than any press release, because while Joy stayed behind to justify herself, Nicole walked away with her credibility intact, and that contrast burned. The uncomfortable truth lingered long after the broadcast ended. Was this really about accountability? Or was it about resentment towards someone who succeeded without apologizing for it? Was it journalism or jealousy dressed up as righteousness? And here's the part no one wanted to say out loud. If Joy truly believed in truth, why did she wait until Nicole was trapped on live television to attack her character instead of addressing facts openly and professionally? That question refused to go away. By the time the credits rolled, the roles had reversed. The actress who was supposed to be exposed walked out looking composed and credible. The host, who thought she controlled the narrative, was left defending herself. And that's the part that still divides people. Because sometimes the biggest scandal isn't what was said, but who lost control while saying it. Now, the real question remains: did Joy Behar reveal hypocrisy in Hollywood, or did she expose something far more uncomfortable about herself? The audience is still deciding.